Earlier in the debate, my opponent mentioned that crimes themselves put a strain on the courts, but by enacting propositions such as Proposition 63, you make criminals out of people with high capacity magazines, and so you might be reducing the amount of crime, but you're making criminals, which puts strain on the courts. In addition, my opponent ended by saying that propositions like this one make it hard to commit acts such as San Bernardino, but that happened despite background checks. The weapons that, two of the weapons that were used, rifles, were bought through straw purchases by the shooters getting someone else to buy the weapons for them. This proposition does nothing to combat that sort of purchasing. The Law Center to Prevent Gun Violence wrote that when a person with a clean background intentionally buys firearms for a prohibited person, she or he thwarts the background check requirements and allows firearms to be funneled to criminals, domestic abusers, and gangs, or in this example, the San Bernardino shooter. In addition, it was mentioned that high-capacity magazines allow multiple people to be killed, but if you put restrictions on that, there exists black markets in California for the purchase of weapons. The Sacramento Bee reported that that federal agents are trying to tackle what is a growing black market for weapons being manufactured and sold throughout the region of Sacramento. And so if you make it harder, like I've said, like if you make it harder for something to be purchased, you create a black market for it. And if guns become too hard for mass shooters to use, there's other methods for them to do what they intend to do. So they'll take the path of least resistance and figure out the next easy option. For example, in France, the Bastille Day killings in Nice have shown us that you don't need a weapon to be a mass murderer. 86 people were killed, all but 3 of them at the time of the attack. The dead include 10 children and teenagers. And so restrictions like these won't prevent mass killers from undertaking their mission. Also, the bill calls for the removal of guns from felons, a process that can potentially cost millions annually. The Legislative Analyst's Office of California has said that increased state and local court and law enforcement costs that will result from the proposition, potentially in the tens of millions of dollars annually, related to a new court process for removing firearms from prohibited persons after they are convicted. So this not only puts a strain on the courts, like I mentioned, but it costs lots of money. And the important thing to keep in mind is that we need to repeal this bill because it doesn't focus on the main issue. This shooters like the Pulse nightclub shooter were radicalized. This bill does nothing to combat radicalization in the United States, which was the motivation behind shootings like San Bernardino and the Pulse nightclub shooting. CNN reported that the husband and wife team behind the San Bernardino attacks had developed extremist views before they met. The FBI director said they were actually radicalized before they started dating each other. As early as the end of 2013. They were talking to each other about jihad and martyrdom before they were engaged in being married together in the United States. And so if it weren't for guns, if this proposition were enacted back then, it would have probably driven into people like we've seen, which kills many people, or have created bombs, as we also seen on U.S. soil. And I want to leave you with, pardon? Oh, thank you. I want to leave you, thank you.